going to the basketball game. It is 10 degrees below zero, and that is the time, it had to be colder than that before women could wear slacks. That was the way it was in Bozeman, Montana, the real rules. And so she and I were walking over to the game, and she's just got on a long coat. We get into the game, and we're in the student section, and I help her off with her coat, and I hear all the student section is yelling and screaming, and she's wearing a swimsuit.
Jeff, thanks for sitting in today. Give us a nice round of applause. Thank you very much. And today's timer is Paul.
Yes, and I apologize for being right on time. When you make your time, such as a 8 to 10 minute speech, I'll hold up green at 8 minutes. And help me how it works. Is that 10 minutes? Yellow. And then when you've gone 10 and 30, or is it 10 and 35?
I'm sorry, it's 8 is green, 9 is yellow, 10 is red.
Okay. Can everybody see this okay from up there?
Yes.
And there is a cheat sheet in the file cabinet if you want to go run and get one, or somebody can go run and get you one that gives you those times if you need them.
Okay. I was going to scribble on here, but
All right, that's great.
thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, Paul, for being our timer today, sir.
Thank you.
Today's vote counter, and Deborah is going to be speaking instead. So we need a vote counter. Who would like to volunteer to be our vote counter today?
I'm the vote counter.
All right, thank you very much. Nice round of applause. And will you tell us a little bit what you'll be doing as a vote counter?
I'm going to count votes. So pass them. Afterwards, everyone has a, well, maybe you don't have a piece of paper. Ballot, yeah, there we go. Thank you. You have a ballot, and just for benefit for our guests, on the bottom are ballots on here. So after the speeches and after they are told about the timing, and if they qualify from a timing standpoint, then just fill out the ballot with who you vote as the best person for both speakers, evaluators, and table topics, and pass those to me. And then I'll count them. And I'll report back to the end. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Tom, for stepping in. And today's videographer is Tim.
Hi, everybody.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. And today's grammarian is Greg. And Greg is not here today. Would someone like to volunteer to be our grammarian?
I'll be the grammarian.
You're going to double up and be grammarian?
And grammarian.
All right.
Grammar.
All right, all the ahs I say and all the grammarians, you're going to have your hands full. Thank you very much, Heather, for stepping in.
Are you speaking, Heather?
No,
Speaking.
she's not.
No.
She's not.
Oh, okay.
We'll go over that in a second. Thank you, Heather. And also our ME today, Mr. Me, Master Evaluator.
I wouldn't have comment on her now you weren't speaking.
No. Thank you very much for stepping in as me today. Would you like to say anything about being the me?
Not really, I'll just perform.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. And finally, I did bring the food today because I got a call last night, and so I stepped in, so no big deal. And
Yay, Mark! Overachiever.
so how do you do a curtsy? I care about the name. Wow, not that way. With culottes on, I might be able to.
It's almost impossible with a swimsuit.
All right, Charlotte, do you still have the hat? Have we passed it around?
I haven't passed it around, and I think I have too many names in there. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I thought I wrote everybody down, put a piece of paper in, I counted everybody, and there's more papers than people.
no.
Oh, my God.
So pick a name, and if you didn't get a Valentine Day card, or when we're finished later, then we'll figure
I
it
gave it
out.
my best shot.
Yeah.
So do a nice Valentine to somebody.
Oh, we're supposed to give it that.
Oh, yeah.
So, to go over the speech lineup real quick, Bruce will be speaking first, Diana will be speaking second, and to speak third, instead of Heather, is Deb. So, just so you know that. Finally, before we get going with our speakers, I brought in some ski goggles. And our blind athletes wear these in the sport of goalball. Now, there's some light, we blocked them out with some caulking around the side. Today being honor of Valentine's Day,
If you pull Diana's name out of there, it's a double.
Say that again?
Is she special?
If you pull Diana's name out of there, take another one.
Okay,
Somebody already has
can
one.
I have the bag back?
Now it's the other.
I'm going to ask you voluntarily to wear the ski goggle when a speaker is speaking, an evaluator is speaking, a table topic master is speaking. Only one time. Listen with your heart. Listen with your ears, your soul, and your heart instead of your eyes. All voluntarily. Thank you. And now, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are ready to get on with our program and the speaking portion of our program. Today, Bruce will be speaking the lighter, a folk tale, 8 to 10 minutes, and his evaluator is Arlene.
Yes.
Arlene, would you like to go over Bruce's goals?
I would love to. Thank you. Okay, Bruce's objectives today are to tell a folk tale that is entertaining and enjoyable for a specific age group, to use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the tale, and he will be taking 10 to 12 minutes of our time to do this. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A Danish folk tale by H.C. Andersen that has been translated. His great impact was to restore an easy conversational tone to a prose style that had become very rigid and formal. Here to speak, the lighter a folk tale, 8 to 10 minutes, is Bruce.
Clarification, timer clarification, I heard 10 to 12 and 8 to 10, are we
8 to 10.
8 to 10? Thank you.
Right, Bruce? Thank you for clarification.
A soldier was returning from war. He had a backpack on and his sword at his side as he was walking down this road. All of a sudden, to the right side of him, this witch appeared. She says, "Soldier, are you a soldier?" He says, "I am. I'm just returning from war." She said, "Would you like to have some money?" "Well, I want to go home. Would you like to have lots of money?" He sort of stood back and says, "So what do you mean?" "Well, you see this tree behind me? If you climb to the top of it, it's hollow in the center. You climb down to the bottom, and you'll find lots of money." He started to listen. She started to explain. She said, "You climb to the top, go down the center. At the bottom, you will find a hallway with 1,000 candles in. There'll be a set of keys, 3 doors. And you open up the first door. You'll see a dog that has eyes as big as teacups. But don't worry, I have my checkered apron here. I'll give it to you. You put it on the floor, put the dog on the apron. Open the chest and you'll find as much copper coin as you wish. And if that's not okay, you want silver, no problem. Just close that door, go to the next one, open that one, and you'll see a dog with eyes as big as bicycle wheels. Just put the apron down, put the dog on the apron, and take as much silver coin as you wish. And in case you don't like that, close that door, go to the third door. And you'll find a dog with eyes as big as Ferris wheels. Put the apron down, put the dog on there, and take as much gold coin as you wish. Okay. Well, tie the rope around your waist. I'll lower you down. Here's my apron. So he asked, well, what do you want in exchange for all this money? She says, well, my granny lost her lighter at the bottom. So if you bring me my lighter back, that'll be fair. So up the tree went, down the tree went. Sure enough, 1,000 candles. Took the key. He opened that first door. A dog was sitting on the chest, eyes as big as teacups. Put the apron out and put the dog on the apron, and sure enough, copper coin. He filled his pockets. He filled his backpack. Put the dog back on, got the apron back, went to the next door. A dog was sitting on top of that chest, eyes as big as bicycle wheels. He put that apron down. He got that silver coin. He filled up everything. And then he went to that third door. Eyes as big as Ferris wheels? He said, no. They're bigger. He put the apron down and said, sir, I don't mean to disturb you. He put the dog over. He filled everything he could with that gold coin. He called up to that old witch and said, I'm ready to come up. And she says, well, you got my lighter? Okay. So he went back and got the lighter. Called up. She hauled him up. He got to the top. And he asked, why is this lighter so important? It's just a lighter. She said, I'm not going to tell you. He said, you need to tell me, otherwise I'm not going to give it to you. She says, I'm not going to. Off with her head. Took that blue tablecloth, put all that money in there, went to the nearest town. He became the most important guy. He had moved into the richest hotel. He had the best food, the best clothes. And the one thing he asked is, who's up in the castle, up on top? He says, well, a king and queen live there, and they have a princess. He says, I'd like to see her. They said, no. The king and queen won't leave her out because she's going to marry a common soldier. They don't want that. So as time went on, one day he got his boot out and out poured one coin. They kicked him out of the hotel. He had to move to the attic because he had no money. Then one day they cut off his electricity and he said, but I can't see. He found the stub of a candle. He had no matches, but he remembered, I have that lighter from that witch. He reached in there and lit the candle. And then all of a sudden before him was that dog with eyes as big as teacups. And the dog says, what do you wish? He says, I'd like money. The dog came back. He had money. He flipped that lighter twice. The dog with eyes as big as bicycle wheels showed up. He flipped it 3 times. The dog as big as Ferris wheels showed up. He kept thinking, well, I'd like to see that princess. See, flipped the lighter and asked the dog, I'd like to see the princess. Gave her a kiss goodnight. The dog took her back. The next day at breakfast, the king and queen asked the daughter how her night was. She says, I thought I had a dream of riding a dog to go kiss a common soldier. They feared the worst. So the next night, they had the Duchess spy on the princess. The soldier flipped that lighter. The dog came. The Duchess followed where he went. Put a big X on the door so they could find it the next day. But the dog was smart. He saw the X. He put X's on every door in the town. So the next day, the queen got smart. She made a little bag, tied it to the prince's waist, put flour in it, so every time the dog bounded, it left a mark. The next day, they found out where the dog took the princess. And in doing so, they came and arrested the soldier and threw him in the gallows. In all the confusion, the next day, the soldier asked, "What is going on?" So he asked the cobbler's son, "I'll give you $5 if you go get my lighter." So sure enough, the boy was good. He came back with a lighter. The next day, when he was getting ready to be hung for his offense against the king and the queen, he asked, "May I have one last smoke?" So he pulled out his pipe, pulled out that lighter, flipped it once. The first dog with eyes as big as teacups came. Twice, biggest bicycle wheels. And 3 times, as big as Ferris wheels. The dogs asked, "Well, I want to marry the princess." So they took care of the king and queen and the common court. The next day they had a big, huge wedding, and the dogs had a big feast. And then the soldier married the princess. He became the queen. He became the king. She became the queen, and they lived happily ever after.
Wow. How do you memorize something like that? That's pretty incredible. Nice job. Thank you very much. By the way, in the United States, guess how many greeting cards are passed out a year for Valentine's Day?
Oh my gosh.
190 million greeting cards. And if teachers participate, schools participate in teachers, it goes up to 1 billion greeting cards. Ironically, guess whose name I pulled out? My own. Our next speaker.
The first one.
Our next speaker is Diane Hale. Is Diana, correct? And here to evaluate Diana is Carol.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Diana's objectives today is persuade listeners to adopt her viewpoint and ideas and to take some action. Appeal to the audience interests, use logic and emotion to support her position, and avoid using notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Diane has been a member of Pikes Peak Toastmasters since March of 2014, going on 1 year. Today, and I see her every speech getting better and better and better, and today she'll talk about the importance of committing your goals to writing. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Hale.
Sorry to interrupt, what's the time goal?
5 to 7.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk about New Year's resolutions. I know it seems a little bit late, but I actually think this is the perfect time. Every year, I'm not a big fan of New Year's celebrations, going to parties, that kind of thing. But one thing I do every single year is write these elaborate New Year's resolutions with charts, goals, pictures, flow charts, this whole thing. And every year I reach a lot of my goals, but what bothers me is there are always a few that reappear on the list over and over and over every year. And, I either don't reach them or I don't maintain them. Like, for example, every year I'm gonna lose 10 pounds. Well, it takes me less than a month to lose 10 pounds, so I should have lost it by now. Every year I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every single day, even when it's not Toastmasters Day. And I'll do that for a couple of weeks, and then I'll just stop doing it. And so I wanted to find a way to resolve this problem. But apparently I'm not the only person who does this, because I was reading on Michael Hyatt's blog that 25% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions within the first week. 60% give up within 6 months. The average person makes the same New Year's resolution 10 separate times without succeeding. I'm one of them. Of those who lose weight on a diet, 95% gain it all back, and a lot of people gain back even more than they lost. And even for people who've had heart attacks, only 14% make lasting changes around their diet and exercise. So what can we do to make lasting changes? Well, one thing that we know works is to just write down your goals. Dr. Gail Matthews, who's a psychology professor, did a study on goal setting, and she found that you are 42% more likely to reach your goals simply by the act of writing them down. And there's a lot of theories about why that works, but I think the most important thing is that it helps you clarify your goals. You've probably heard of the SMART acronym for goal setting. And if you haven't, I passed out a graphic that you can refer to. But what it basically says is that when you write down your goals, they should be really specific, not vague, like I'd like to eat better or something like that. They should be measurable so you can tell if you're making progress. They should be actionable, meaning that it's got to be something you can actually make happen. And they should be somewhat realistic, not maybe 100%. And they should have a time limit. And I think writing your goals down in this SMART format can give you a lot of clarity. Another thing you can do is to write your top 10 goals every morning. Just discipline yourself to write your top 10 goals every morning, and without looking at the list from the previous day. And I've done this myself, and I think it works pretty well because it really, first it helps you focus on what your goals are, and it reminds you every day of what you're doing, but also it helps you eliminate things that aren't important to you. Like one year I set this goal to learn ballroom dancing, and so I didn't really like it that much, and it wasn't that important to me, so it fell off the list pretty quickly, like probably in the first quarter. But writing your goals definitely helps you achieve them, but sometimes, as I said, it's not enough because I write the same ones every year without achieving them completely. So I think you need to take one step further, go one step further, and also write down your action plan. And one technique you can use to discipline yourself to do this, I've been using it this year, is that you can write 10 ideas about ways to reach your goal or actions you can take to reach your goal, and then just make yourself do it every day. And it's funny because the first 3 or 4 you can write really fast, you can come up with things right away, but after about 4 your brain has to work kind of hard to come up with things you can do, especially if you're doing this every day. And it's kind of like working out. If you just force yourself to do it every day, then you get stronger and better at it every day. So I'm finding that really useful. But for me, it's good to do it right before I go to bed, because before I go to bed, I might write 10 lame ideas on my pad. But then when I wake up the next morning, I've got all these ideas. They're not necessarily much better, but I do have more ideas. And I think that's good to do if you've got this really big goal and you have no idea how to achieve it. Like one year I set all these exotic travel goals. I was going to walk on the Great Wall of China and what else? Dive the Great Barrier Reef and see the Taj Mahal in India. And so I wrote all this down, I wrote down my ideas, and then by the end of the year, I had married this pilot, and he had flight benefits, of course, so we took and of course, you want to take some action toward your goal every single day. Anyway, to summarize, I think we all have goals we'd like to achieve, and I think you can reach your goals. I mean, we know you can reach your goals more easily by just simply writing them down, but you can increase your chances even more by writing down your action plan as well, and of course, taking one small step toward your goal every day. That's it.
So, thank you very much, Diana. Nice job, excellent job. Now a round of applause. Did you know in the 4th century, Valentinius, one of the myths, he was Valentine, Saint Valentine, Valentinius. He was imprisoned for marrying the soldiers who would go off to war. More to follow on that story. Our next speaker is Deb, and to do Deb's evaluator is Sophie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Deb is doing speech number 3 from the Competent Communicator Manual, which is Get to the Point. And her goals, excuse me, I should have been more prepared. Having the goggles throws you. It's kind of a whole little exercise there. Her objectives are to select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes, to organize the speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes, ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purposes, and to project sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness she might feel. She's also to strive to not use notes. The time is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Sophie. Deb will be speaking today from Project 3 in the Communication Manual. Her speech objective is to persuade, reaching out to community through inspiration and offering options. Deb's objective is also to speak from the heart, as Sophie mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Deb to the lectern.
Fellow Toastmasters, have you ever noticed a problem and you thought, why doesn't somebody fix this? And then you realize that maybe you are somebody. That's a saying from Lily Tomlin about volunteering. Volunteering is near and dear to my heart. We have a tremendous need for volunteering in our community. Today, I would like to share opportunities, 3 opportunities that you could consider to help volunteer. And I don't believe that any of us are callow in this opportunity. Maybe somewhere along the line, you will think of something else that you would like to lend a helping hand. In order to volunteer, all you really need is a warm heart, helping hands, and a little bit of time. I started volunteering when I was 12 years old. You might ask why I even thought of volunteering at 12 years old. It's because I came from a family where my parents have a ministry for volunteering. They actually helped me volunteer. They volunteered me. My first experience was actually playing guitar and singing at Brady's Hospital, which is now Cedar Springs. My father set up a program for Brady's Hospital, and my brother and I were part of that. So we got to put some songs together, and we played guitar and sang with the group in the lunchroom, and there were a lot of different age groups. There were younger, older people, younger people, and people of middle age. While we were singing, a fellow that was about, I'm guessing around 18 years old, came and sat down in front of us, and he listened intently through every song. And he even cried softly sometimes while we were singing. After we got through singing, he stood up and he shook both of our hands and he said, "Thank you for being here. Every song was wonderful." And we know that he listened to every word. We felt like somebody that day. My brother and I understood what volunteering is all about. It's not about us. It's about helping somebody with a warm heart and helping hands. The 3 opportunities we have in our community that are near and dear to me are Care and Share. Care and Share is a wonderful food bank. They have a mobile pantry and they deliver to over 31 counties in Colorado Springs. We have a tremendous need. There are 1 in 5 children who are hungry or at risk for hunger in our community. If you're interested in volunteering, you could host a food drive. You could donate food. Care and Share would take a turkey. They would take a bag of groceries. They'd be happy for anything that you could offer. They have sorting. You could sort food in bins to be delivered to the 31 counties. And they also offer a wonderful children's backpack program. It's near and dear to my heart. Imagine being a child and you go to school on Friday, you pick up a backpack full of food, you take it home, and you say, "Dad, Mom, look what I have." It's a backpack full of food, enough to feed the entire family. That's another opportunity to donate at Care and Share. Silver Key Senior Services is another area that's very near and dear to my heart. Did you know there are over 62,000 senior citizens in Colorado Springs? And as we speak, I'm working on being one of those. Many years from now. Silver Key offers transportation to and from doctor appointments. They offer transportation to and from social events or shopping. If you would like to volunteer at Silver Key, you could volunteer to be a companion for an elderly person. That could include reading to them. It could include listening to them. Elderly people have a lot more wisdom about life than most people. They've lived it. And they love to speak to people and somebody listen to them. It's near and dear to their hearts. All you need is a warm heart, helpful hands, and an opportunity to volunteer. Another opportunity is a new phenomenon in our neighborhood that I've heard about that's called snow angels. Do you know what a snow angel is? A snow angel is somebody who knows their neighborhood and they know somebody who may be disabled, somebody who is an elderly person who can't shovel their sidewalk.